Hello and welcome to the Insurtech Story TV, which is part of the Insurtech Story podcast. And you're listening to Surya Saha, the host of the Insurtech Story podcast. And today we're going to discuss a very interesting topic, which is on the evolution of insurance and how generative AI is actually playing a role to transform the way we see insurance operates. And for that, we're going to discuss with a special guest, Gautam Kanjilal, who is the global delivery head for insurance solutions at Exavalue. And with that, welcome, Gautam.
Thank you, Surya.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks for inviting me.
Anything you want to say a bit about your background, that what motivates you in the insurance industry? What was your journey like, and how do you see the future of insurance to be?
Yeah. So it is 22nd years that I have been part of insurance and technology. I have worked with a number of insurers across the globe in the technology space, working in different areas of insurance, life insurance, group insurance, PNC, etc. And I'm generally an enthusiastic on technology, especially on AI. I do a lot of studies, and I have done a lot of number of courses on AI, and I take part in different new technology related activities happening
Yeah,
in insurance
yeah.
and in our industry. So
It's very interesting to see, how we have seen AI is transforming the industry. Then uh, machine learning also as a inclusive part of it. Now it comes generative AI, right? So with that, my first question to you is, how do you see the evolution of AI and ML solutions being used in the insurance industry as a whole, and the changes being brought when we say Gen AI?
yeah, interesting and difficult question, because the definition of AI it varies from era to era, from different time. We define AI in certain way,
Yeah,
and even within AI scientist community, there is some like when you go and ask them, there will always be some difference of this definition. But largely, if we define the AI horizon or AI spectrum in general, if you go back 30, 40 years,
yeah,
we had intelligence systems, and we used to call them rule-based system.
yeah,
And we used to see in insurance, we used to use, or even today also use applications like chatbot, applications like say RPA.
yeah,
Those are all rule-based AI, you can call them, or traditional AI. Then comes the machine learning part. That is where we have started developing different models, statistical models like regression models,
yeah,
where those models are meant to be trained on data. They will learn from the data, and then will predict something or give some value.
right.
And we have seen number of use cases and of that machine learning based models.
Mm,
Models like say claims prediction, or cross sell upsell related prediction, or the churn analysis.
right.
Those would be all part of machine learning based algorithms and models. And even today, we do most of the insurance companies are using
Mm,
this type of models. Then comes the different layer of machine learning or AI, which is deep learning.
yeah,
And that
yeah,
is where it is getting a little complicated, because that's where you have neural network, different technologies coming together. And and there we see a lot of new applications coming. Some few of them call them narrow AI. Those AIs are developed for a specific purpose. Let's say you want to extract text from a document, or there is some vision related requirement you have, image processing.
yeah,
So those are few specific purpose AI, which also are being used in the industry. In many, even like it, there are many cases where we have seen that insurers have come up with their claims modeling or underwriting modeling based on certain imagery,
mm,
right, different pictures and satellite imagery. So, and GenAI is the next evolution of that
yeah,
deep learning, which is a very complex, or a sub, or I would say next evolution of uh, deep learning, which has many other elements, right? I mean, this is really, it has become a talk of the town, where everyone is so interested,
mm,
and it has really got attention of so many people. And I'll come more in more details about the use cases that we see in GenAI. But one thing that I want to highlight at this point of time, GenAI is bringing very different set of capabilities, which all the different insurance companies are looking at, and figuring out how to use those capabilities.
yeah,
To name few, if you look at GenAI models, there are a few key capabilities that it brings. It has a lot of knowledge.
Right.
If you look at these standard models, those have been trained with huge amount of information. GPT 3.5 was trained with 1.75 billion parameters, and GPT 4 probably with a trillion. And
Wow.
even Google Gemini is more than a trillion parameter tokens, right? So it contains a lot of information. Whether insurance companies, the use cases that insurance companies are developing are going to use those information, yet to be seen.
Yeah.
But the next capability is the understanding. It's not only has so much of information, it can understand what you are saying.
Right.
There is some amount of understanding which is inbuilt with those models, so that it can differentiate between river bank and a bank where you go to fetch
Mm.
money. So that is where it is becoming very interesting for insurance use cases, because it can actually understand the question an underwriter is asking or a claim adjudicator is asking, and fetch and give the exact information that that person is looking for.
Mm.
And the third capability, which is another very important capability that it has brought, unlike other earlier models, is the execution capability.
Right.
It not only understands, based on that understanding, it can execute things. It can execution means it can go to internet and fetch some information for you.
Mm.
It can even write a piece of code for you.
Yeah.
So it can do a lot of things based on your instruction and the way it understands.
Right.
So it brings a lot more capabilities, and there are a lot of enthusiasm in across the industry that I see wherever I go and talk to any insurance customers. This invariably becomes a topic after 10 minutes
Mm.
of our discussion. In Exavalue, we have our own innovation lab where we are working closely with many insurance companies
Right.
and trying to come up with use cases which will be relevant for them and for
Okay.
the industry.
Okay. Okay. Wow. So you mentioned about this innovation lab, right? And you also mentioned how you extract data, then the claims process, primarily touching upon the value chain. So the first thing that comes in my mind on the, when it when a conversational AI model or a Gen AI model, try to extract data and processes it, it a lot of concerns comes on the quality part, right? But before that, I have another question before I ask you to answer for that is, what examples can you give from the insurance value chain similar to claims, that how exactly Gen AI or generative AI is actually transforming this process,
Yeah, yeah.
and how exactly the insurance companies can benefit from this?
Yeah, right. And this is really a good topic of discussion, because this is what we have been discussing all along
Yeah.
with so many insurance companies across the globe. One thing that I have observed in last 6 months or so, after it has really become popular and all these models came into play, one is most of the insurance companies are trying a lot of things, but it's mostly with their internal facing use cases, not
Right.
with the external facing use cases. I would say the reason, there are two main reasons. One is that even these models are very new. People are still trying to understand what it can do and cannot do, or what are the risks of implementing this type of model. So instead of exposing it to our external customers or agent, it's
Mm.
better we try it first and then we'll
Right.
see. And the second thing is, if you look at the model, the way those are priced, it's all token based. That means that depending on how many words you use to ask a question and the output, the cost of your overall running of that particular model will vary.
Mm. Right.
At this point of time, we don't have very good handle on those things. So people are not exposing it or not trying to do anything which will be exposed to a agent community or
Right.
customer. Now, looking at the internal facing use cases, there are 2 3 areas. There are multiple use cases that people are trying, but if I try to sum up, one I told you about, that from understanding part, the three layers of capabilities that it brings. The understanding part is the document summarization
Right.
and ability to understand document, or read through document and get the right information. So these are being used in multiple places. Broadly, you can call them as knowledge management, but in specific use case, if you ask me, let's say claim.
So I'll just interrupt you here.
Sure.
So when you said document understanding, right? So is it like in the insurance context, it would be like, any sort of underwriting document or any such
Yeah.
related documents you
Yeah.
mean?
Right. Right. To give you an example, let's say for claim, right? I was talking about claims. Let's say your claim departments, you have inducted 5 new adjudicators.
Hmm.
They don't have much information about the prior claim, and then a new claim came, and
Right.
I mean, today without any tool, that person has to go through all the old documents, claim documents, filing, and then understand what happened with those policies and earlier claims. But now with GenAI models, we can build a solution through which this new adjudicator can just ask question in plain English and get all the relevant information from those documents.
Hmm.
It has the ability to get the exact context, understand the
Right.
question, and pick that information and give it to them. Other use, say even for claims, let's say someone there's a FNOL, you lodge a claim, and then you need to substantiate that with number of documents. Let's say a police file or whatever, right?
Hmm.
Different type of
Any
documents,
supporting
any
documents?
supporting
Yeah.
documents.
Yeah.
So the tool has the ability to scan through that document and the data that you have shared,
Hmm.
and then it has the ability to match. And if there is any discrepancy, it will be able to highlight where is the gap, and it will also help us to identify if there is any fraudulent claim
Right.
which has come through, and it will help us to catch all of those. Same way in the underwriting, during underwriting, you need the underwriters need a lot of information. So it can get information from different sources, from
Hmm.
different
Hmm.
documents, let's say a medical report or any other document, or it can also go to internet if you want. It can go to internet and get specific information. Let's say for a property information,
Right.
you need
Right.
additional information for the property. It can go and fetch those information.
Right.
So it has amazing capability to get information from various sources.
Hmm.
The other use case that we see, there are two types of other use cases that we see that everybody is trying. The second is also document, but slightly different.
Hmm.
This is related to the financial analysis. Let's say
Right.
you have all your insurance financial data available in few Excel documents.
Hmm.
In fact, we are doing a project like that where we are developing solution which can go to those Excels, get the required data, and calculate all your financial calculation, financial whatever financial calculations you want the model to do.
Hmm.
It can provide you that. Say,
Right.
what was my underwriting profit in the year of 2016?
Ah.
What was my combined ratio in the year of 2019?
Right.
You just ask this question in plain English.
Hmm.
It will scan through the Excel and it will give you
But
that
will
exact
these
information.
algorithms will customize as per the company requirements? So it's in general the how the
Yeah,
GPT
and
model
that's where
works.
that the last part of that capability came into play. So how is this doing it? Finally, it's a language model, right?
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
really does not have the ability to run this calculation. But that is where the beauty of these models are becoming useful is the way it can create text.
Yeah.
The same way it can create Python programs. So for this type of calculation, what the model is doing, it is actually writing Python program
Hmm.
and run those Python programs against the data. You can look at those Python programs. So if you understand Python program, or if you have a programmer who can go through the program. So if there's any change required, you can do it. So everything is visible, but
Right.
you don't have to do it. I mean, it will do it for you. It will run and it will give
Got
you
it.
the result. This is a second type of use case that we see that a few companies are trying. And the third one is it's not only insurance companies, even IT companies
Yeah.
are trying, which is the engineering use cases,
Okay.
which is
Okay.
like, you want to generate test data for your, some testing.
Hmm.
You want to generate test script.
Yeah.
You want to generate some requirement document, or from requirement document, you want to map the test cases.
Hmm.
All those things can be done easily using those models,
Okay. Okay.
and it is being tried upon, and some of them have already been in
Hmm.
production and people.
So you mentioned about gathering data, understanding the combined ratio of so and so year.
Right.
So how do we exactly gauge the quality of data being assessed? We in a large language model, right? LLM, what we call it. There's a lot of discussions that's been happening, on the biasness. That was my
Yeah,
last question, which
yeah,
I
yeah.
earlier mentioned.
Right, right.
That from the ethical consideration part, how do we avoid such biases? And is there any such challenges that the industry is facing, and
Yeah,
how can the insurers overcome
yeah, yeah. Yeah, ethical AI or this bias, it has become a hot topic whenever we discuss AI. In fact, as a background, I want to tell you that we as a company, XFL is part of a ethical AI committee, which we have started with a couple of our partners, and we are working on that. But to come to your question, uh, so there are there are different types of biases that you have to look at when you are implementing one of these models. first of all these models are pre-trained. So you are not training them. So you have an idea about the quality of the data that was
Right.
used for training, but you have not done it. So whatever use case you write or whatever use case you are trying, you really have to be sure, and you have to experiment, you have to test, and you have to be sure that
Right.
there is no biasness in the model itself.
Hmm.
Number one. If you go with the large models, established models, it's assumed that at least some amount of assurance would be there. But still, from your side, you have to make sure that you are also checking that. The second part is your data. Now, your
Yeah.
data is being supplied by you
Yeah.
through a form of document or Excel or a flat file, CSV file, whatever. And that is where the unit who is providing that data has to be
Hmm.
extremely careful, because once the data is provided, there would be, let's say, hundreds of your internal employees are going to use that data,
Right.
or get information insight from that data. So it's extremely important that you yourself are very sure about the quality of the
Yeah.
data,
Yeah.
because that data
Absolutely.
will be used to take any, come up with any calculation or bring any insight
Right.
that you need.
Of course, when you say, it's an internal data, so the uh, the issue of any sort of a security related stuff also comes in,
Yeah,
so that it shouldn't go out of hand.
correct,
Who is
correct,
actually using it? Who is actually
correct,
accessing it?
correct.
So, is there anything that, kind of a risk that is also, comes as a possibility of such implementation with Gen AI models?
See, the surest way of avoiding it is that you bring your own model and do it, but that will be extremely expensive, and it will
Expensive.
be
Yeah.
cost
Yeah.
ineffective for any insurance company. So you have to rely on some of the data, some of the models available. Now you can go with, if you go with say OpenAI or Amazon or Google models. Once you sign up the contract with them, with the enterprise version,
Yeah.
they will give you commitment that your data will not be out of your domain. They will not use your data to train their model. So
Right.
there's a commitment that you will get from them. So you can be,
Okay. Okay.
you have to rest assured on that. But if you go for any other open source model,
Yeah.
then like, you have to take more ownership and
More ownership.
responsibility
Yeah.
to protect your data.
I think, of course, it's a very growing model. We are still learning,
Exactly.
and there would be perhaps more risk that we would be foreseeing.
Yeah.
And but I think it's a possibilities are immense, and it depends on the way it's being used for, the broader benefit of the industry as
Yeah.
well as the end user.
And it is evolving at very
Yeah.
rapid pace.
Yeah.
Every other day you see new features, new functionalities are coming. And another point that I want to highlight as you talk about the
Yeah.
future, in a way, it has brought a level playing field for, especially for the insurtech community.
Right.
Because see, now go back 15 years, 20 years, when you did not have cloud. You want to open up a company and you want to build some application.
Yeah.
You have to procure your own hardware, do everything from scratch, build software from scratch. When you have cloud, when cloud came, it brought some amount of level playing field, because even if you don't have a huge budget, you can take a portion of Azure or AWS and do whatever you want to do.
Right.
And now, if you see, for GenAI, it's completely level playing field, because end of the day, you are going to use, let's say, OpenAI model. I'm also going to use OpenAI
Yeah.
model, or
Yeah.
Amazon Bedrock model, or whatever, right? So it has. So now the differentiator would be the way you can innovate, the way
True.
you can think about the use case which will be useful. But the base model is ready. The foundational model is same for everyone.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that is where the ability to try out new things would be much higher. The ability to even fail and succeed would be much higher, and we expect to see lot more innovation
Yeah. Yeah.
based on these foundational models.
Yeah. I think a fantastic discussion, Gautam. You have mentioned very key insights here, and I'm sure it'll be more beneficial for the decision maker in the insurance industry who is really trying to understand and transform from the boardroom to really in the execution stage. So with that, thank you very much for your time. Fantastic discussion, and thank you to your viewers for watching the Insurtech Story podcast. And we'll see you at our next episode. Take care and stay safe. Goodbye for now.
Thank you.